Hello, this is John McCalmont. Welcome to another edition of Bass Champs Dock Talk, and this is no normal edition, Jeff. It is Mega Bass Week, and boy, do we have a show today.
We have a big week here and a lot of money coming up.
Big week, a lot of money. Now, think about it. If you're about to go fish a massive tournament, who on the lake has the most information to give you to tell you where to go catch fish?
I'll tell you what, especially with Lake Fork, I want somebody who fishes it a lot.
Like almost every day, especially this time of year.
Maybe it even counts on their living coming from
Maybe,
every day.
yeah, that's a good hint.
Yeah.
Because we don't have one Lake Fork guide, not two, not three, not four.
You're going to run out of fingers.
5 Lake Fork guides that are all going to break down the lake and how they would fish mega bass in 5 minutes or less coming up. And that's, yeah, I mean, we don't have a giveaway on this one, but we still want you to like, comment, and share this video. Actually, nobody's going to share it because they want to keep all of this information to themselves.
We got a giveaway. We're giving away the info. We're giving
away info from 5 different Lake Fork guys. But before we get to these guys, let's run down the biggest topic that everybody wants to know about. What's the weather going to look like for Sunday's tournament?
You know, I'm just going to be straightforward. We've got a rough week here. For midweek, it looks like we're going to have some rain. Now, the bright side of that is the rain's gone on Sunday, which April 6th is the tournament. It's going to make, from my side, it's going to make for interesting Sunday of fishing. But I love it because, man, it's anybody's game on Sunday.
It is, because the worse the weather is leading up to the tournament, the less fish that are going to be caught leading up to the tournament. It's going to make them hungry, and they're going to be chomping on Sunday.
No, it's anybody's game for sure on Sunday. Sunday looks to be on today's weather, which is Monday, but looking at 5-6 day forecast, we've got some rain in the forecast this week, but it looks like Saturday morning, mid-morning, all that blows out. Got a little north wind, a little cooler over the weekend. Of course, the fish are already up doing their thing. Well, maybe we're going to hear that.
We're going to find out.
5 different guides, but
5 different guides.
Sunday, hey man, we're lucky. Sunday's the best day we've had or going to have after starting tomorrow. So
yeah. So registration. Tell me how the registration works. When I need to register if I want to be registered for the prizes, and when is the last minute I can register?
Sure. So we always come up with a bunch of cool prizes for early entries. Early entry drawing, you must be registered by basically Thursday night at 11:59 p.m. Check-in and general registration, both the same thing. Friday from 5 to 7 p.m. at Lake Fork Marina. Starting again all day Saturday, basically 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. on Saturday. And then for those just kind of maybe they're fishing a club derby or something on Saturday and can't get there on Saturday during our normal hours, we open again at 4:30 a.m. there at Lake Fork Marina to catch, anybody who wants to jump in right there at the end.
Yeah, so Sunday morning, if I'm fishing a tournament somewhere else on Saturday and I want to drive in Sunday morning at 4:30 a.m., I can start registering.
That's correct. Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Now, first cast on Sunday is at what time? Because this is a trailering tournament.
It is. You can put it on any ramp on Lake Fork, obviously. You can launch. You can't leave that ramp till 4:30. Electronics, big key here. Electronics may only be used for navigational purposes. You can't go out there hunting using your forward-facing sonar before 6:30. So you could leave your ramp or your dock or where you're at there at 4:30. I want you to use your electronics. I want you to travel safe. Life jackets, kill switches, navigation lights. Use your depth find. Know where you're at. Use your GPS. But you can't in those first 2 hours from when you can leave the ramp to where you can make your first catch. You can't go looking for mega bass winning bass.
Yes, and that has caught some people in the past, hasn't it?
It definitely has. So that's what we're talking about.
And that is a polygraph question.
Every time.
Every single time. 25K an hour. And the big number that we're looking at there is first place is $15,000 every hour.
15 grand, like you just said, $15,000 every hour on Sunday.
For first place.
For
but
first
we're
place.
paying
$25,000
for the whole hour.
That's right.
So that's going to be amazing. First cast is at 6:30. When's the first hour that I can weigh in my big bass?
Well, first off, we're going to have to finish the largest fish at the end of the event. The biggest bass weighed in. Not do you only just get a little $15,000. You're also going to, just tiny. You're also going to go home with a brand new Skeeter ZX200 powered by Yamaha with full Garmin electronics.
You know what I call that ZX200?
What's that?
The little Corvette of Skeeters, because when you drive one, it's like you're on rails. It's so much fun.
It's a really cool boat.
It is a super.
It's even more cool when you take it home from Mega Bass.
Yeah, it is, along with $15,000.
That's right.
Okay, so what is the first hour I can weigh in?
So first cast 6:30. The scales open for the first time at 8 a.m. And we're open the top half of every hour starting at 8 o'clock. So 8 to 8:30, the scales are open. Then we close. 9 to 9:30, all the way to 2 to 2:30. And some people will have asked, and we've done this event long enough, but really our whole intention is just to allow you to fish more. So because really in a big bass event on an hourly format, it all changes within the last 2 to 3 minutes of every hour. So instead of coming up there and hanging out and trying to figure out what to do, it's really about fishing. So when you pull up on the bank, if you pull up right at 8:01 and say, we have people down there telling you, of course we have live leaderboard, live feed going, all that. But if you look at that, you're going to say, man, nobody's weighed in. That's right, it's 8:01. And maybe there's a few fish weighed in, but you want to know whether to weigh in. Well, you're really not going to have an idea until 20 after the hour, 25 after the hour. If you and I, John, were lucky enough to get to fish, we're going to pull up about 20s on the 20s and just get a feel for what's going on. Because look, if we've got a giant or we've got a giant over or a giant under, you know what? We know where we're going, but we can get a feel for what's going on in the hour. If we pull up at just after 8 o'clock, I have no good answer to give you because there haven't been enough fish weighed in. But in big bass tournaments, a lot changes in the last few minutes.
Now, go into detail on the fact that you don't have to enter the official weigh-in line right off the bat. You can put your bass in the bag and go where?
So we have 2 sets of tanks in this event. We have the official, you're in line, you've crossed the line, you're going to weigh your fish. But before you get that, with maybe 10 yards outside, we have 4 tanks set up. And those are just your decision tanks. You can hang out right there. The official clock's right there. You can see what the time frame is where you would need to cross the line to be in for that hour. And you can hang out there. They're aerated, and a lot happens in those tanks, especially in this event, because there is $15,000 up, every hour.
$15,000 every hour. So there's a game that goes on in those standby tanks.
Yeah, here's the deal. Even if I have a 10-pounder, 12-pounder, I'm going to hang out just to make sure my buddy McCalmont here doesn't run up there at the last second with one even bigger. So all that's real easy. It's a lot of fun. We have staff there, kind of letting you know. And look, if I've got just a solid under, I'm not wasting time. I'm going to go right through line, come see you on stage, see where it plays out there. But if I have a fish that I feel like, hey, man, this fish could be worth $15,000, I'm stopping at the decision tanks. I'm going to look around and see what's going on.
100%, because we're talking $15,000 and also a new Skeeter. Well, of course, and if you have the biggest bass overall, you're not worried about it.
That's correct. Yeah, if you got that one, you can walk straight up at 8:01. So.
Now we're talking slots, we're talking overs and unders, and 99.9 of people listening to us right now know exactly what we're talking about. But for those who don't, explain slot.
Yeah, so Lake Fork has a slot. So a legal fish on Lake Fork is 16 inches and under, and 24 inches and greater. So any fish that's greater than 16 or less than 24, you must release. You can't bring it to weigh-in. It's not a legal fish on Lake Fork. The next question that comes up, man, how do you measure? Seldom do anglers, mismeasure an over. They look, they've got the mouth closed, tail compressed, and they're swiping on their board, and they're looking for just any little part of the tail that at least touches 24, because that's a legal fish. Where people get themselves in trouble is they look for the long 24, but they don't do the same on their 16s.
Yep.
And I always say, measure your 16s and your 24s the same. You'll never have a problem, because we're not going to let a fish that doesn't touch 24 weigh in, and we're not going to let a fish that's over 16 weigh in. So as hard as it is sometimes, and I've been there, so have you, to throw it back because you're not going to weigh it.
Yeah, I mean, the greatest thing you ever told me was when you're measuring that fish that you want to go under 16, measure it as if you wanted it to go over 16. If you can't make it go over 16, you've got a legal fish.
That's right. A little reverse psychology is what I call that.
Yeah, and it's been very, very beneficial for me. Okay, we talked about the no electronics rules.
Yep.
And that's a polygraph question, of course, if you win the hour.
Sorry about that.
No worries. What are, I mean, everybody should read those rules before they fish our event. That's what the rules are posted for.
Yeah, the first thing, we're talking about all this stuff, and I would tell you right off the bat, go to basschamps.com, click on rules, click on Mega Bass rules. Take you 5 minutes. Just read the rules. I mean, that's the easiest thing to answer 99%.
And then if you have any questions, you can ask us at registration.
That's right. And that's what we're there for.
Yes. So read those rules, but what are the other big ones that often get, that often are not followed, and it's just totally an honest mistake?
Well, remember life jackets.
Yes, sir.
That's probably the easiest thing to forget, but it's one of the most important. Life
jackets and kill switch. That kill switch got to be hooked up.
We need both of them.
Yep.
We do boat inspections. They're random. You draw a poker chip. It's real easy. We're looking for life jackets. We're looking for throw cushion. We're looking for fire extinguishers. Make sure your boat's, and that's for both sides. I mean, make sure it's legal, but it's safe. And that follows the same line as the life jackets and all that. But probably one of the biggest things that the honest mistake, as you said, is somebody comes into weigh-in so excited they just caught the trophy fish of the lifetime, and they're pulling up there and they don't have their life jacket on. Well, that's the hardest part. The least fun I have all weekend is telling them that they can't weigh in.
They can't weigh in. Now, in order to play the game, you want to know what kind of fish are being weighed in each hour. You can listen on KMOO on the radio.
99.9.
99.9 KMOO. You've also got the live leaderboard that is going to be at basschamps.com that is going to be live for every hour, and it's just, even if you've got a horrible cell service, you can grab that because it's just a data that you're pulling down on your phone and see that.
Very easy way. Live leaderboard. Go to Bass Champs. You'll see it right at the top. Say, click here for live leaderboard.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then something new we're doing this year is we're going to be live streaming each hour of the weigh-in. So you can, if you're going to weigh in a big fish and you're already, you want your mom or your dad or your wife to see it, you can tell them to go to the live stream and watch it, and they can see you weigh that fish in.
Absolutely. It's going to be awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's multiple, you have 3 ways, right? KMOO 99.9, easy, real easy way if you want to listen to the radio. If you're having reception problems, live leaderboard, it's digital. It's going to tell you what's going on that hour. It's going to tell you previous history. You want to get a feel for midday. Hey, what's it taking to get the last place check, which is 15th place every hour, which is $500. What's the average? Well, I can scroll through there real quick and say, okay, that's what it's taken. And then what's cool this year is the live, we're going to see you live on stage. We're going to see every fish weighed in. And what we're going to see during that is that most of the action happens in the last 2 to 4 minutes every hour.
Mm-hmm. Every single hour, the last 2 to 4 minutes. And that's going to be so very, very exciting. I can't wait. For me personally, I'm kind of glad the weather's going to be a little rough on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, because that means those fish are not going to be pressured on those days.
It's going to be a lot of fun. There's probably not going to be a lot of oops, I messed up on Wednesday, Thursday. If this was me, I'm looking forward to Sunday. Like I said, we got pretty lucky here based on current weather.
And the fish are biting in Texas right now. I mean, our last tournament at LBJ, it took 19 pounds to get a check. At Cedar Creek, it took 18 pounds to get a check. Yeah. I mean, this is the time of year to go out and catch the bass of a lifetime or the under of a lifetime.
Yeah, both pay very well in this tournament.
Yeah, they pay. I mean, we've had unders win hours before, and that is
absolutely
just part of the strategy.
That's right. And
all right, well,
I'm going to tell you right now, an under will win an hour for sure.
For sure, it will win an hour.
Yeah, 15 grand for a 2.5 pounder.
All right, so you're on the record that an under will win an hour.
It definitely will win an hour.
And before we go to the guides, what do you think's going to be the big bass this Sunday? We saw a 13-pounder come in at LBJ.
Yeah, 1304. I'm going to say 1190 wins Mega
Wow,
Bass.
you're going big, Jeff. I like it.
There's been a lot of big fish caught
1190.
here.
Yeah.
A lot of good anglers coming
1190.
out on Sunday.
Gosh, I'm gonna go 1230.
Wow, yeah, that's pretty dang big. So,
That's a big bass, dude. That's what I
love it.
wanted. I want to see a teenager. I really wanted to go teens.
yeah, well, it's Lake Fork. Anything's possible. So
Anything's possible. All right. I say let's find out how the guides are catching them. You ready?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
Let's do it. All right, this guy needs no introduction. He's been on the Bass Champs Dock Talk podcast before. Lance Vic, been a guide on Lake Fork for, I don't know, I'm afraid to say how many years. And I know you're driving home from the lake right now, Lance. Tell us, first about your day. You got 5 minutes, so.
I only got 5 minutes? Okay, I'll make it short and sweet.
You got 5 minutes.
Lake Fork is prime. Big fish are up. They're shallow. There's a bunch of them. I mean, it's kind of exciting. I know there's a cold front coming, but I've been sight fishing like all week, and there's been some big ones up. Starting to get a frog bite, and some of the frog bites are big bites. So I was looking at the weather.
I like that.
Yeah, it's going to be cold and windy and north wind, but, you know, that happens just about every time y'all have a tournament, doesn't it?
Yeah, I'm real used to that.
All right, so tell me this. You've got 4 rods on the deck, Lance. I want to know what's rigged up on those 4 rods and what you're going to do to try to win $15,000 in the first 2 hours. Go.
4 rods. I've got a Texas rig, a weightless worm, a swim bait, and a frog. That's it.
Nice.
And my trolling motors, I'm going to put it down. Live scope's not coming on. I don't really even need my graph because I'm going to be fishing shallow cover the entire time, the entire day. Fish are coming shallow. They are shallow. And the 4 techniques are all proven to catch big fish. So you can blind cast for bedding fish with a Texas rig or the big weightless worm. Take your favorite. If windy points, the swim bait, and then everywhere else that looks like there'd be a fish there, shallow and shallow cover, stump, log, dead hyacinth, somewhere there's an opening, shallow water, I'm going to throw a frog over it. 4 techniques.
And what area of the lake are you gonna run to for the morning?
I'm shallow grass guy. I'm east arm. Probably going to go to Glade. That's where I like to play.
All right, so that's the first 2 hours. Are you doing that all day long? Are you going to change your strategy throughout the day? Or are you just going to have the troll motor on high, live scope off, and just move in water?
I might not have the troll motor on high very much. If I get in a spot where I get a bite or two, I'm going to really slow down and kind of pick it apart with my weightless worm and my Texas rig. Now, we've got to include, a Texas rig, you're going to be sight fishing. So if you're up looking for bedding fish, which you can catch an under bedding fish, or you can catch an over bedding fish. While I'm fishing with a frog or a swim bait, my weightless worm, I'm going to be looking for spawning fish on beds. Because it's that time of the year.
And you've been catching them on beds, right?
Oh, yeah. They're there.
I want to go.
Love it.
I've seen pairs, and they were biting. It didn't take long on some of those fish. It's been quite refreshing. So
I need refreshing bass. I like that. All right. Well,
All right, that's Lance Vic. That's his 4 rods on the deck. He's got the live scope turned off. He's got the Texas rig, the big worm. He's got a frog on. He's fishing grass. Doesn't get much better than that. Thank you so much, Lance. We sure appreciate you. Come out and say hi to us on Sunday.
We do. Thanks for having me. Good luck to all the anglers. I hope everybody catches their fish of a lifetime.
Awesome.
Either really big one over or a really big under. One of the two.
All right, now we're joined by Mark Watson. Mark, man, sitting
Hey,
in your
John, how are
boat.
you? Yeah,
So
I'm
tell
fine,
us, give me the breakdown. I'm going to give you 5 minutes, Mark. I know you know this lake like the back of your hand. I mean, this is your home waters. You love fishing it. You got 4 rods on your deck. I want to know what you got tied on those rods. And first and foremost, I want to know your strategy in the morning on Lake Fork to weigh in and try to win that $15,000 in the first 2 hours. Go.
Well, two things. Depends on if you're going up there to cash checks or you going up there to try to win the whole thing. So you got to decide in this tournament for how many people are there. From my past experience of fishing with my son and just myself, you got to decide from the beginning what you're going to do. You're going to have small baits on going for small fish, or you're going to have big baits on going for big fish. Well, this time of year, if I was going to go and try to win this first thing in the morning and try to catch the biggest over that I could catch all together, and now just because I'm throwing big stuff doesn't mean you can't catch a 2 3/4 pound under. A lot of them will eat these bigger baits. I've caught hundreds of them doing it. But my number one tactic for winning this tournament would be out of the 50 to 60 shell beds and clay points that I know of and that I have on the lake from guiding in years past, I would be focusing with a big glide bait.
Oh, look at
That
that
would be
thing.
my first thing in the morning.
That just fires me up.
Oh, yeah. I mean, and the way they eat it is another thing. That or a big line through like the coal shad or the 316 line through. These have been staples on Fork for the last, 10, 12 years now. I mean, when Mickey first moved to Fork, I mean, we got our hands on these and it was like you're throwing a lightning bolt in the water. I mean, the fish would just absolutely destroy it. I can't tell you how many big fish that I've caught on these baits. I mean, over 11 pounds, giants. And it's just that would be one of the things I would target, because a lot of these fishermen that are going to be in this tournament, they don't throw stuff like this. There's a handful of them that do. The majority of them are going to be beating the banks. They're going to be doing this. So if you know where the shell beds are and the clay points and things like that, that's what I would target to win it, especially right now, coming off the full moon. You're going to have some coming in and you're going to have some coming out that just got done. And when I was guiding on Fork, that's how I did my guide trips. I didn't harass the females on the beds. I stayed on the mouths of the spawning pockets and worked the clay points and the shell points and maximized the females coming in and the females coming out. That's how we caught our big fish, doing that stuff when I was guiding there. And second instance, I would get in the shallow flats, the grass. There's the grass that I could find in the lake. I do know there's some grass in Wolf, and I do know there's some grass in Little Caney, and probably some in Cheney. I haven't been much in Cheney this year, but I know there's probably something in there. Two things that I would throw on that would be your staple, just your wacky worm. I mean, you can win it on a wacky worm at Fork. I've caught 9 and 10 pound fish on wacky worm there. That produces tons of unders. That or the Catch 5 by Sandtone, the little smaller spinnerbait, and I would work the flats with both of those and just target smaller fish. And both of those baits will catch those bigger ones as well. But it's kind of your choice. Do you want to go small or do you want to go big? Go big or go home has always been my forte. Everybody that's known me as a guide on Fork, I've been a big crankbait guy, football jig guy, big swim bait guy. I hardly ever saw me with a fairy wand in my hand. Now, tournament fishing with the opens and things like that, I've bowed down to the fairy wand and started using it more. And I break more off than I do land because I set the hook too hard.
All right. That big question.
Yes, sir.
It's before first cast at 6:30. You and I are fishing together. Where are we launching at? Where are we putting in?
Probably Big Mustang.
All right, so we're going to be fishing real close to Big Mustang. All right, so we got 4 rods. We're launching at Big Mustang, and we're not throwing fairy wands. We're throwing big baits.
We're throwing big baits.
Big baits. And now you got to think, how many bass have been weighed in at a big bass tournament that's been caught on a wacky worm?
Oh, God. More than you can count. You know, we always in mega bass, we'd always get the guy from New York that drove 22 hours down here to fish it. And in the last 15 minutes, he sees a stump that's no one stopped on ever in the lake because it's by the boat ramp or something like that. Throws a wax worm up there, catches an 11 or 12 pounder in the last 5 minutes of the derby, wins the whole thing. I can tell you on one hand how many times that's happened. Probably at least 5 that I know of in the last. That's 15, right.
That last years. Hour is always a big hour.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Mark Watson, man, he fishes like I do. You go big or you go home. Big swim baits, big glide baits, fishing the hard bottoms, the clay bottoms, the shell beds. Man, I love that. That's exactly what I would be doing all day. Mark, thank you so much. And Mark's contact information is down in the description if you want to get a hold of him. We appreciate you giving us a mega bass breakdown, my friend. Thank you.
Appreciate you guys. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Mark. Man, appreciate it.
Brooks Rogers. Brooks, I'm afraid to ask how many years you've been fishing Lake Fork Reservoir.
Oh, goodness. I guess this is going on year 28. I've guided full time. It's all I've done since I was 21 years old.
Wow.
It's been a blessing. I've had a great time. It's been a good run.
Let's pretend like you're fishing the mega bass event. You've got 4 rods on. You got 4 rods on your deck. I want to know what you've got tied on, and I want to know what's your game plan. Are you going to go for big ones? Are you going to go for just weighers to make money? And what are you going to do right off the bat, first thing in the morning, to try to cash a check in the first 2 hours? Go.
Goodness. First off, let me say a couple things about the lake before we get into that. First off, the lake's about 4 inches low, and the fish are in all phases of the spawn. There have been a few that I think are wrapped up. There's a lot up there now spawning lake-wide, south, north, and everywhere in between, and there's a lot more that hadn't came. So let's just say that first. I'm kind of more of a traditional fisherman. Right now, I'm catching them on everything from a spinnerbait to a chatterbait to a swim bait. When I say swim bait, I'm talking like a 5-inch boot tail type swim bait. Also like a Zoom Ultra Vibe speed worm. It's got the big cut and tail on the back. That right there, those 2 baits, along with the spinnerbait, Texas rig lizard, and a Cinco, as far as just catching fish, those 4 baits are probably going to get as many bites as anything right now. As far as a big one goes, all the stuff Mark said I would agree with. I didn't get to hear Lance, but I would throw a spook a bunch. You may not get many bites, but you may get a big one. And a buzzbait. The biggest fish of my life ever was a 12.6, and it came on a buzzbait 1st of April. Actually, April the 4th, 2001. So, and I've had several over 10 on a buzzbait. So a buzzbait will catch a giant. I would be throwing that a bunch, especially with the kind of conditions I think Saturday's going to bring, some rain and clouds and things of that. The lake has got a lot of cover in it now, more so. I mean, we got some flooded weeds. We have cattails. We have lily pads blooming in places. Coontail moss along with some hydrilla in places, not everywhere, but places. So that's good to see. I would pick up a buzzbait and I would cover a bunch of water. I would rock and roll.
Oh man, nobody throws the buzzbait anymore. I want to go throw a buzzbait all day. I love that.
It's one of my favorite. You can cover a lot of water. It gets big fish strikes. It's just a fun way to fish for me. But I would be throwing a spook. Some of the things Mark said about those little clay type, little flat points, shell bed type points. If you come across one, launch a spook across a flat point. But we have a lot of cover in the water now, so that's keeping a lot of fish up there really shallow, along with the spawn. So I would be covering a lot more weeds and things like that. The beauty of this lake, there has been giant bass caught from one end to the next. Somebody could win this thing in the back of Garrett Creek on a chatterbait in 2 foot of water, or it could be one at the mouth of Cheney. Somebody cranking a tree line, or somebody throwing a shell bed with a glide bait. It could be one any number of ways. But I think for the conditions and the time of the year, I think a big topwater may not get a lot of bites, but it may get the ones you're looking for. And then as far as just bites, just catching fish of all sizes, and it could be one throwing a Cinco, throwing a fluke, throwing a wacky rig, Texas rig brush hog, anywhere you think fish are spawning, some of the main lake pockets, some of the backs of the creeks, most of those places are going to have some fish around. Little windy bank lines with a small spinner bait, a little compact spinner bait will get the job done along with that little swim bait. that's what I would focus on as far as numbers and maybe those under the slot size. But there again, I mean, who knows? I mean, there's just no telling what the winning fish will be caught on. It could be caught by somebody trying to catch a big one, or it could be somebody just trying to catch a fish with a baby brush hog and catch a 13-pounder and win the whole thing. So you just never really know. But the lake is fishing really good right now. It's one of the best springs I've had in several years, and there's going to be a lot of fish caught, I think.
I love it. All right, Brooks, we're running up on the end of your
yeah, but I
here.
love the fact that you're throwing a spook all day long. I mean, that just
more importantly, Brooks and I are fishing together. Where are we launching, Brooks? Sunday morning.
Where are you launching at?
Where are we putting in?
Oh, I guess I would say probably watching the weather. I'd probably put out at Oak Ridge or Minnebucket down there on that southeast arm, and I would probably go northeast. That's kind of where I like to fish a lot of times. But I can apply the same things I'm doing there on the west side as well. So that's probably what I would do. But if I was going to throw more of that,
where I was meeting you.
Yeah. But if I was going to concentrate on more of the spook type bite, it'd probably be more south, more probably buzz bait, things like that. Probably more, north.
Okay.
I like it, man. Brooks, we appreciate you so
Yes,
much.
sir.
Come say hello on Sunday.
Thank you for the opportunity. Good luck, everybody.
Yeah. Thank you, Brooks.
Andrew Gills, Andrew Lake Fork guide. Andrew, break it down for us. I'm going to give you 5 minutes. Pretend like you're fishing the Mega Bass tournament and tell us what you're going to do, what 4 rods you have, what 4 baits you've got lined up, and how you're going to try to cash a $15,000 check in our hourly Big Bass tournament this weekend.
Yes, sir. Man, the fishing's good right now. A lot of fish, most of the fish in the lake are up on the bank. A whole lot of fish are spawning. If I was fishing the tournament, I'm looking at the weather. It's going to be kind of stormy, it's looking like. So sight fishing is not going to be as big a player as what I thought it would be probably if that weather holds up, because a lot of fish are on beds. It's going to be a good sight fishing time. But if they can't see them from the wind and the clouds, they're still going to be able to catch them because there's just so many fish on the bank. So I would have a Texas rig on the deck, something small, beaver type bait, crawl type bait. I've got several different baits that I'm using. A weightless Cinco, something like that. Surprisingly, I've been that little Sandtone Got 5 spinnerbait, just a little small spinnerbait because we've had so much wind. On a wind-blown banks, things like that, they'll react to that spinnerbait. And then the fourth thing, that's really all I would need. But if I had a fourth, the honorable mention would be like a light shaky head, maybe a 1/4 ounce with a small worm, because there are still some pre-spawn fish. And there's a good pattern this time of year getting on the lower end of the lake, get around those stumps and dragging that light shaky head around, catching some of those fish that are just about to move up, in the 4 to 8 foot range. So those would be the baits on the deck. My plan of attack, first thing in the morning would be the spinnerbait and the Cinco, just to try to get a fish in the boat, that I could weigh. Just depending on the wind. If it's calm, I'm going to throw that Cinco. If there's wind blowing, that's spinnerbait. And then the rest of the day, once I got that out of the way, I would really be trying to find one if I could, because somebody's going to see a big one on the bed, And I know a couple years ago, that's the way that 15-pound bass was caught. A guy saw a shadow, and that could definitely happen again this year.
Jeff, ask your question.
Well, I've asked everybody. Andrew, you and I are fishing together Sunday for the tournament. Where am I meeting you at the boat ramp? You better have everything tied on. Where are we meeting?
Where are we meeting?
Yeah, what launch ramp are we putting in? What part of the lake?
Man, I live in Rolling Fork RV Park over here in Board Tree.
Yep.
And that's where I've been putting in, back here in the back of Board Tree almost every day, because I like to lay low. Nobody sees me putting in, and they don't know where I'm fishing, and I'm just kind of flying under the radar, man. So I gave out my secret for you.
We saved the best for last. Brian Duplachane has been guiding on Lake Fork longer than some people listening to this podcast have been alive. Brian, when did you first start guiding on Fork?
In 1985.
85. Wow.
Yeah.
That you have seen that lake mature more than anybody else.
Yeah, I've seen it, man, it's changed so much over the last 40 years. Went from like a jungle to now, you don't hardly see any trees standing anymore. Some places,
Yeah, that is.
we could hear the bass, but we couldn't get to them. We could hear them schooling, but you couldn't get to them. You couldn't get your boat through the cedar trees. Oh, it was crazy. It was crazy back then. Not to mention all the wasps and the snakes hanging in the trees. Yeah, it was a special time back then. It really was.
Yeah, and Lake Fork's still a special lake today in a lot of ways, isn't it?
Oh, yes, sir. I mean, I think this is still one of the best lakes in the country, for you to come and catch your personal best. I have so many customers that catch their personal best, whether it's a 4-pounder, 5-pounder, 10-pounder, 12-pounder, whatever. You still have the best chance, I think, on Lake Fork.
That's awesome. All right, so pretend like you're fishing mega bass this Sunday. Tell me what 4 rods and 4 baits you've got hooked up and what your game plan is going to be to win $15,000 an hour.
Well, if I want to win $15,000 an hour, I would have a buzz bait tied on for sure.
Ooh, that's twice we've heard the buzz bait word. I love that.
Yeah. But I would throw it first thing in the morning, and then I throw it after noon when it warms up pretty good. My next bait's another top water bait. It's the Yellow Magic, the bigger size, the 1/2 ounce, because you never know if these fish want it. Every day right now, you don't know if they want to chase something or not chase something. If they want to chase something, the Yellow Magic. I mean the buzz bait. If they don't want to chase anything, the Yellow Magic, where you can pop it once or twice and just let it sit there. And those fish, those big fish, especially the nose up there, and just look at it, and then you twitch it just a little bit, and he'll either eat it or he'll turn with it. But he's fixing to engulf it, man. It's just, oh God, it's such a rush.
Man.
But the other bait I would use, this bait you're gonna catch a ton of fish on, and that's a fluke. I mean, I can't tell you how many fish I've caught this month because it's almost embarrassing for me to say that number because nobody believe it.
Oh, I believe you, man. You got 40 years. How many have you caught this month alone on a soft jerk bait?
Today, I've got 725 for the month of March.
Whoa.
That's big time info right there.
Whoa.
See, I like bites, John. I mean, I want to win 15 grand, no doubt, but I still like bites.
Yeah.
What's your biggest fish on a soft jerk bait, Brian, this month?
9 3/4.
All right.
We've had 4 9-pounders on a soft jerk bait.
I love it.
Wow.
Yeah. And the thing about it is, on Lake Fork, especially right now, it doesn't matter if you're catching a bunch of dinks, 10 inches to 2-3 pounders. I promise you there's a big one mixed in there. You just got to keep showing. You got to keep casting. You got to keep casting. I would use a paddle tail worm. A paddle tail swim bait. Something like a little flashy, with an underspin.
Yep.
Especially with the wind. That's going to be some wind this weekend and some clouds. I think that's going to work very good.
Another one of my favorites.
Yeah.
So we got 2 top.
If I want to try to catch, an over, I would get like Brooks was talking about, the Zero Spook. I mean, that's a bait that'll catch a big one, just like a Yellow Magic or a buzz bait. Those are known big fish baits, but it all depends if they want to chase something or not. Every day's been different. Some days I can catch them on a vibrating jig. Some days they won't even look at it. It's all almost dead sticking a fluke or a single.
Wow.
You got to be very patient. You got to be very patient for these fish, because these fish are not going anywhere, because most of them are hanging around beds. They're hanging around beds, so they're not swimming more than 6-7 feet maybe from a bed. They're staying there. They're not going to swim 10 feet from there. Because you have to remember, these fish are not biting our baits because they're hungry right now. They're not hungry. They're done fed up, getting ready for the vigors of the spawn. They have one thing in mind, and that's laying those eggs and protecting those babies. And protecting those babies means that they got to kill whatever invades their little surroundings around that bed. They're not feeding. They're not eating our baits because they're hungry. It's all because of their protective instincts at this time of year. Because you got to remember, he's only here for two reasons in his life. Number one, above all else, is to survive, and number two is to reproduce the species. And right now, he's reproducing the species.
Brian, if I was in the boat with you, I'd love to throw a soft jerk bait. What pound test are you going to tell me to spool up when I meet you at the boat ramp Sunday morning?
20-pound test, big game, something that you can't break.
Yeah, I love it. Big game,
break
old
for you,
school. Man, listen to this stuff right here. This is 40 years of advice coming straight to you for Lake Fork for Sunday. This is big time stuff.
Yeah, I let him go over 5 minutes because
the
information was just too good.
I agree. It's freaking awesome. All right, Brian, question. I've asked everyone, or the previous four. You and I are fishing together on Sunday. I've got my 20-pound big game spooled up, 5/0 hook, ready for my jerk bait. Where are you and I launching from?
Mustang Resort.
Mustang Resort. All right. So we've
I've launched there 99% of the times in the 40 years I've been here. It's centrally located, and I can be to Gary Creek in 15 minutes. I can be in Glade Creek in 15 minutes, and everything in between, and with 5 or 10 minutes. So,
yeah, that's great information, and we got a lot of people going to be listening to this. But I'm going to be fishing with Brian, so.
No, wait a minute. I think everybody wants to go fishing with Brian now after that schooling.
That was awesome. I was just thinking about 85, man. Wow. I was begging my dad to take me to Lake Fork. And it was several years after that. But anyways, I digress. Thank you very much. Great info.
Hey, thank you very much, Brian. Come see us Sunday. Come say hello.
I will. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, appreciate you, brother.
You bet.
Go ahead.
Well, Jeff, after hearing from those guides, we got a lot of work ahead of us because there's going to be a lot of fish weighed in.
Man, it's exciting to hear across the board how excited all the guides were about the health of the lake and the number of fish they caught.
Yeah.
I mean, in variety of ways and different places, and from top waters to small baits to
I love the buzz. I mean, two guides both fishing buzz baits. Lance throwing a frog. Brooks having a zero spook tied on. I mean, that's old school fishing right there.
Yeah, and they were excited. I mean, 725 fish on a soft jerkbait in March alone.
In 1 month.
Right. He didn't even want to say it because he didn't think anybody would believe us. But if anybody that knows them,
I'm believing
40
Brian.
years of experience talking right there.
I'm believing Brian 100%.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah. I mean, that's just amazing. I mean, and really that's not an answerable question. How many fish have been weighed in over the years in all the Bass Champs tournaments? Well, I would just say only the big bass tournaments that have been caught on a soft plastic jerk bait or a wacky worm or something like that. It's just, you can't calculate it.
Yeah, and it was cool too. Those guys all kind of mentioned conditions changing, little north wind on Sunday, saying, hey, they're eating a spinner bait also. They're eating a, chatterbait. The lake sounds really healthy. We ought to see a bunch of fish on Sunday.
Well, and those guys fish in all different kinds of conditions, and so they know that the weather's not going to affect the fishing on Fork on Sunday very much.
That's right.
If anything, it's like we said earlier, it's going to improve it because the fish aren't going to get whacked on as much, the couple of days beforehand.
Yeah, the lake's going to get a break for a few days leading up to the tournament, which could really maybe my predictions are wrong. Maybe it's even going to be a bigger bass. So we're going to find out on Sunday.
Well, Brian said offline, and I hope he doesn't mind me saying that, but he said he would not be surprised if a 13-pounder, if a teenage fish comes in.
Yeah, he pretty much expects it. That's pretty cool.
Megabass, Lake Fork, April 6th, this Sunday, $25,000 an hour, $15,000 guaranteed first place every hour. We're out there. You can register early and be up for prizes. That registration ends at what time on Thursday?
Not Thursday.
Oh.
Fridays. Oh, hang on. Early entry.
Early
online.
registration.
You're right. 11:59 p.m.
Yep. On Thursday.
Yep.
And then you can do live registration on Friday,
5 to
Saturday,
7, Saturday 10 to 7, and even
Sunday morning.
Guys coming in, like we said, from other tournaments. That's why we do this on Sunday. We'll be there at 4:30. Everything's happening at Lake Fork Marina. We're going to have classic Buick Arlington GMC out there with vehicles you can take a look at. We're going to have brand new Skeeter boats to look at. It's going to be a lot to do. Purple Heart Homes is going to be out there. Lots of cool stuff if you're just in the area. Just want to see a bunch of fish weighed in. Come check out these guys.
I've got some friends coming out just to watch the weigh-in because it's fun to watch because it's every hour on the hour. And we've got the live leaderboard. So if you're out fishing, you can look at that live leaderboard, listen to KMOO radio, and we're also going to do a live stream of the weigh-in. So your family and friends, like if you're coming down from Washington, you can call your mom and say, hey, I'm weighing in at this hour. Watch it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you can see it live. Yeah. All right. Busy week for us, Jeff, and look forward to seeing you this weekend. Mega Bass Sunday. It's going to be a good one.
It's Mega Bass Week.
Mega Bass Week.
25,000 cash guaranteed every hour. April 6th, Mega Bass on Lake Fork. In 2024, James Crawford won $15,000 in a new Skeeter. This year, it could be you. Open to all amateur anglers and all boat brands. $15,000 first place every hour. 15 places and $25,000 guaranteed every hour. Big Bass of the day wins $15,000 cash plus a Skeeter ZX200. Over $200,000 awarded in one day. April 6th, Mega Bass on Lake Fork. Visit basschamps.com for all the details.